Hi everyone, my name is Charlie, and I'm actually hoping to upload this video. The last few Woolgathering videos I have recorded, one went on for 10 minutes, the other went on for 17 minutes. Neither of them has ended up online for the simple fact that I needed to edit them because they were so long and so rambling, and I could not edit them properly because apparently Premiere Elements has an issue with iPhone videos, and that someone did mention downloading another piece of software, but I'm a technophobe, and honestly I'm just not sure how I feel about that. Maybe I really ought to invest in a camera rather than just keep using my sister's from 2010, but what can you do? Anyhow, this morning has been a strange one in that last week I mentioned that two people, you won't have seen these videos, two people decided to try and kill me on the same morning, perfectly fine, got over it, fun stuff. This morning, maybe it's just BMWs, maybe BMWs don't like me. A BMW decided to pull in front of me on the dual carriageway and then proceeded to go slow. When I got my speed up, I couldn't overtake them because some people carrier was going alongside me, not getting its speed up. If I'm going at a certain speed, you need to be going faster than that so that you're clearing up that lane. This isn't like, oh hi, how are you doing? This isn't like we're running the same race together. Get in front of me. If you want to overtake me, you need to be doing a speed to overtake me. Honestly. Anyway, that BMW ended up getting off the roundabout before me because I had stopped for some traffic. And then another BMW Range Rover type thing decided that it was going to go in front of me. I'm fine with that. I understand that's how roundabouts work. However, he then proceeded to jolt. He clearly, because it was a 2018 plate vehicle, he didn't want anyone close to him. I don't know whether he was thinking it was some sort of testicular thing, you know, whether this is just sublimating, I don't know. I wouldn't like to say. All I do know is he fucked me off a bit. Sorry, swearing. I keep trying to stop. Honestly, my grandmother would not be happy. Anyway, so we're coming along the road, and every time we're coming to a stop, it's an abrupt stop for him, which then means an abrupt stop for me. So then I got this worry that something behind me was going to crash into me. I also got that worry where you think, this person's going to think I'm the idiot. Also, we ended up having to pass by traffic. Now, this might be, just to move away from the idiot in the BMW, let's move on to the other idiot in the room, on the road, there were cyclists going up the road. Perfectly fine. Cycling, saving the environment. Okay. I'm not having a go at the cyclist here. I'm having a go at the driver that decided to overtake the cyclist when there was no room to overtake the cyclist because we were in a line of traffic waiting for the traffic lights. So he ended up extremely close to us, but wasn't actually paying attention to what he was doing as he tried to pass the cyclist. So we were having to move further towards this grass verge. No, he wasn't paying attention to that because he was on his phone. That annoyed me. That did annoy me. That's almost as bad as when I've seen people eating scrambled eggs on toast for breakfast on their lap, knife and fork in hand whilst still driving. That annoyed me as much as that did. Anyway. Eventually I just decided to keep back from the BMW. End of story. I mentioned end of story because I've just realised with 10 minutes past 4. We've gone 4 minutes in this video and we haven't gone anywhere. I'm very apologetic for that. But these are supposed to be my rambling videos with little nuance or thought to them. Shall we catch up? We can try. I've now watched every single episode of Riverdale. I did that in 1 week. I don't recommend it. The show made me feel old. I only read 3 books in August. I have started work on the children's book again, and I did read that. Read a page of chapter 4, which is where I've started off the rewrite from. I read that to the writers group and they seemed to enjoy it, and one person did have an issue with something I wrote and I had to explain it's because magic. just, if you ever get the chance to read it, you might understand it. And so that was okay. And I'm constantly impressed by the work that these writers are putting out. I need to say that again. And so that was a fun afternoon yesterday. I read Windwitch last week. I'm now currently reading The Lies of Locke the Mora and rather enjoying that book. And I have watched Emmerdale this week simply because it's been tense. It's not been tense, and it's not been something that I've been like, oh, I need to be in the room for this. I just need to see whether I'm proved right, and oftentimes I have been. Where shall we go from here? Where shall we go from here? Anyway, the children's book. Let's just talk about the children's book for a few more minutes. This isn't a book I see myself self-publishing. This is a book that I see myself querying with agents and hopefully trying to get traditionally published. This was always my intention with this book. In 2012, 2013, I started this book, and I continued into 2014, and then I stopped to write Doris. And my intention with Doris was always, because it was monologues, I wasn't ever going to send out to a publisher. I was always going to independently publish that because I didn't think there was any space in the market. However, I only ever planned to publish one of those books and then go straight back into writing my children's book. This didn't happen for reasons that have been seen and mentioned on this channel enough times now. However, last year, whilst I was on holiday in Halkidiki, things weren't going that well with Indisputably Doris. And so I was sat there, I had my Kindle with me because I didn't want to take any books. My mother had just gone for a hot stone massage, and I thought, well, I'm here, it's pouring down with rain outside, let's have a look. And I read the children's book. And then I read it again, and I must have read that book about 6 times. I know that I've said this before in a video, it's just to repeat myself. And I decided that I wanted to go back and rewrite that. I sent out emails to my friend Lily, my friend Lindsay, who have both been extremely kind, and Lindsay has been, well, earlier this year was critiquing the book for me. However, when I started work on the secret writing project, she put that to the side. Also, I had when I was reading it, I decided a lot of changes that I wanted to make, and in fact, it's still being changed now. I sent my original redraft of Chapter 4 to Lily of Larkios Reads. Once again, go and check out her channel. And Lily gave me some advice about this chapter, and I thought, you're right. So I ended up rewriting the chapter, and then also writing an entirely new plan for the book once again. And I don't have an aim of when I want to finish the book. I just think that it's the right thing for me to be writing at the moment. And it doesn't mean that I'm not still going to do Doris and still do all these projects I have planned to independently publish, because I don't see there being a market for that with what I plan to do with the independently published stuff. But I just think that I want to try traditional publishing. That was always the aim, and I think that most writers would aim for that stamp of approval. And it's just this story feels like the right thing to send off, whereas the Doris books felt like they ought to be independently published. The children's book doesn't. It feels like it needs that attention from other people who can help me get it to more people than I could hope to myself. So that's where we are with that. I'm currently writing Chapter 5, which actually includes stuff that was in Chapter 4 of my first draft, and the stuff that was in Chapter 5 of my first draft won't happen until Chapter 7, and I'm not sure whether there's still going to be 25 chapters anymore, but it's changing its form, and I'm hoping that is for the better. And it's quite humorous to me that it's doing that simply because of the content within the book. meaning that it fits that these characters are changing their mind about where they want this story to go. I think the story ends the same because I know I have intentions for sequels, so I know where the whole story really goes in the end. So it's definitely going to end the same. It's just about making sure everything is the best it can be, and I don't think that I could have done this 5 years ago when I finished the book. I think I definitely needed to write Doris, improve my storytelling skills, improve my ideas around writing, and go back to the story. And yes, I think that 3 years is definitely, well, 4 years really now. 4 years is too long of a break to take away from a book, but I think that sometimes it takes that time. I've seen writers say that they've gone back to a work 30 years later and reworked it and rewritten it because they knew that they didn't have the skill then. And I, honestly, when I was at university and someone told me I was too young to write, I wrote an article about it and got rather annoyed. However, that person was right. And the examples that I gave as to writers that were young when they released fiction, they weren't good examples, because I now no longer think those books were that good, and I don't think that the writers had the skill necessary to tell those stories. So I understand where that person was coming from, and can only apologise for getting so butthurt about it. Anyway, I think that that's where I'm going to end it after 12 minutes of incessant rambling from Charlie. I can only imagine what you must be thinking. Anyway, if you have any questions, if you just want to say something about the video, please feel free to comment in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, that is all.